Hey, welcome to the shop. So today we're going to talk about these 5 key racks that will sell at your craft fairs. Some pretty cool hangers. This one's got a little tray, flat board, and the bird. Now if you're sharp enough, you'll catch that there's something wrong with these 5. Let's get to it. Okay, I got a fancy new camera thing here that'll track me so I don't have to stand still anymore in front of a camera. Let's give this a try, see if it makes it a little more interesting. I'm not a guy that stands still for very long. Let's start out with the State hook here. The State key rack, this one right here. Now, stock size on this guy was 6 by 14 by 3/4 of an inch. We carved it out with a 60-degree V-bit. I did not do a flat bottom in the bottom of this. I just let the V-bit do its thing. I cut it out with a 1/8 inch end mill because of these guys right here. This right here is very tight, so I had to get in there with the 1/8 inch and make sure that I could get in there. It is ambrosia maple, and of course we put the hooks in. I lined the hooks up with the mill. I let the V-bit just touch each one of those little points. Then I don't have to figure out where they go. But that's the State one. It's finished in polyacrylic. We used acrylic paint inside this guy right here. Other than that, we have a little star right there. You don't have to use all the hook locations if you don't want to. You could actually take some of them out. That is the State one. Let's move on to the next one. And what I've got going on back here behind me on this mill is going to be pretty interesting. You're going to really like that once I show you that video. That has to do with that purple heart round table thing that I made the other couple weeks ago. All right, let's move on to the tray one here, the one with the tray. That's this guy right here. All right, a couple things about this one. It was a 4 by 13 by 3/4 of an inch thick stock. I carved out the letters and the State right there with a V-bit. I also used the V-bit to locate the holes along the bottom here. I used a 1/4 of an inch end mill to cut it loose and to cut the tray. So we're good there. Now this thing has 3 different kinds of woods in it. It has walnut, it has sapelli, and it has purple heart. Now not paying attention, this is one of the things that I did wrong, but not paying attention, if you look very closely, general rule in the Hinkleshop, if I make a mistake, I tell you the mistake. So if we look at it from this direction, let me make sure the camera can see it, you'll see that the purple heart is more narrow here than it is down here. Not paying attention when I lined it up on the mill, I should have cut this off and made it perfectly rectangle with that stripe in there. Didn't do it. This one will hang in our house. It's finished in lacquer. And if I was going to make it again, another mistake, maybe not a mistake, but a little adjustment, I would put these hooks about 1 inch lower, because I think it's going to be a challenge to put the keys in there and hang them up. All right, moving right along now. Let's do the one that is the flat board here. Very basic, very easy. You can punch these things out, no problem. Home is where the keys hang, is what that says. If you can't see it in the camera, which I'm pretty sure you can. You got a series of holes along the bottom. Again, we put those in with the V-bit so that I know where they're at. We used a 1/4 inch end mill to cut this guy loose. 60-degree V-bit to cut it in. I got a surprise with this one. I hadn't done this before, but I took the torch to this, believe it or not. I can show you that here. And I was pleasantly surprised at how the torch highlighted the letters and it brought the grain, it popped the grain up for us. Rounded the corners, rounded them this way as well with a 3/16 round over bit done with a hand router. Okay, moving right along. Whoops. All right, let's move on to this one right here. Cattle drive. Now the cattle drive was a piece of oak. You can see it's oak on the back side there. It was a 4 by 18 inch by 3/4 of an inch piece. I did do a roughing pass on this guy here. Across the face here, we have a flat bottom. I did a roughing pass with an 1/8 inch end mill. I did a inverted carb, like if you were making a plug for a inlay. This would be the male plug. I don't know if the camera is picking that up, but you can see that these guys are raised. I left the border on. If I'd have cut the border off, it would look, you would be able to see that they're raised much easier. Now this one here, I did a little trick with the paint job, and I can show you that here. We used acrylic paint on this guy to do that trick. And then we went back over it with polyacrylic. Extremely, extremely important. Let the acrylic paint dry for 24 hours before you go applying polyacrylic to any of your projects. If you don't, when you take the brush across, unless you're spraying it, if you take the brush across, it's going to wipe that acrylic paint and smear everything. So don't do that. Again, lined up the holes with the V-bit. You could put in every other one. You could put in every 3. You could put them in any way you like. But there we have a cattle drive. Would look good in somebody's cabin. Highly saleable. Let's move on to this guy right here. Now I have a friend at work who has a Mustang GT, and he said the other day, you know, we really need somewhere to put our keys. And I thought, well, he sure would like something nice to put his keys on, and I'm sure he wouldn't want something that says Mustang on it, so I made him this one here. We're going to take it to work and hang it up next to his desk. He probably won't let me, but we're going to try. This is a Demon, and it was a relief carve. It was done on a 6 1/4 by 14 1/2 by 3/4 inch piece. We used an 1/8 inch end mill for the rough in, and then I used a 1/16 tapered ball nose for the actual relief portion of this. Now this relief took way too long to carve out. I would definitely come up with something different if I was going to sell these guys at any craft fair, because you just simply couldn't batch these out. I think that carve took me 3 hours. That's just way too long to batch anything out. Again though, I took the torch to it and I was pleasantly surprised at how well it made those letters pop and how much it brought that Demon's head up for me. Again, located the holes, as I said, with the CNC, let them do it. And if you look on the back here, I hope the camera's picking that up, you can see we just took a 1/16 inch drill bit and drilled straight through, and them hooks work perfect. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description below for these hooks if anybody's interested in purchasing these as well. I'm going to also put these files on my website. I may make some of them free, some of them will be for sale. Check that out, hinkleshop.com. And 5 saleable items for your craft fair. 5, right? Here's number 6. The birds. Now Lisa painted these guys, and this was done on a 12 by 12 piece of ambrosia maple. We used a V-bit to cut them out. I did not do a roughing pass on this one here. Lisa painted it with acrylic. She painted them both red, and we got corrected by a friend of ours who said females are a different color. So she went back in and repainted it. So kudos to her. Thank you, Lisa, for correcting that and repainting it. I didn't do the roughing pass because I thought that the lines that the bit creates here in the tail and stuff would give this thing more character. I said in the beginning that there was something wrong. I had done something wrong with these 5 items. If you can figure out what that is, put it in the comments below. And no, it's not that tray that's out of alignment. we have 5 items that will sell very well in your craft fairs. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. There's something big going on there behind me on that CNC. I don't know if you can see it with all the stuff in it. But as always, like, share, and subscribe. That helps the channel grow. We surely do appreciate that. And I'll catch you on the next one.